If you're a Springbok supporter, I'm sure you feel like me. Gotta feel a little bit the one that got away. And it all comes back to one thing that any Springbok fan, rugby pundits, everyone has said. Somewhere the Springboks will pay the price for not having a kicker. Well, when I'm saying a kicker, I'm saying a specialized kicker. And I gotta say, well done to Ireland. Bunde Ake, what a performance. Sexton wasn't shut down at all. He was able to play his game, and boy, were the Irish competitive at the breakdowns. Just so competitive. They came in there with a fire. Oh my honey, so many players stood up, and well done to them winning this game. It's got to be said. We can't be that kind of Springbok supporter that want to say, oh, but no, but no buts. The Irish beat the Springboks, so well done to them. Guys, I've got so much to unpack. Let me take you on the journey of this game and just tell you how this crazy game played out. It kind of felt like a finals. It really felt like a finals. Packed stadium. The atmosphere and both teams' ferocious attitude towards this game. It was by far the best game of this World Cup so far. Now, from the start, the Irish showed their intent. They were not going. They had a few penalties. So, if you want to say, but the Springboks left a lot of points on the field by not converting their kicks. You have to also say the Irish had opportunities to kick for goal and get a bigger scoreboard lead. But they wanted to go there and score tries. For about, I think, 2 or 3 times in the first half, they had opportunities to kick, and they went for the line-outs to take on the Springboks. The scrums was especially good from the Irish in the first half. They were strong. They held the Springboks. Even in the second half, the Irish had a very, very good scrum. There was a few scrums that they lost, which we understand with the Springboks getting all those players come on second half. They did lose some of the scrums, but generally very, very good in the scrums. And what I liked in this game is we saw a running type brand of rugby from the Springboks. They weren't scared to run the Irish. And as much as the Irish were saying, let's go for the corners, we want to take you on up front, we want to go for tries, as much that the Springboks say, we'll play running rugby just like you do, Ireland. And it was so interesting to see both teams say, we'll take you on at your own game. And that's what you love to see in rugby. And I mean, Bunde Ake and Delelindi, I mean, the head-to-head clash there, and those two guys, I mean, Bunde Ake was outstanding. Delelindi in that first half especially, man, how good did this guy play? Both of these guys strong on their legs. Bunde Ake, man, some of those line breaks that he had a few line breaks. That guy is so dangerous. It takes 2 men to bring that guy down in most of the tackles. But also Delelindi, same story. The Irish was really, really patient in this game and eventually getting into the Springboks half a bit more and playing very patient because they were working through phases and not really, getting past the gain line quite often, but eventually sucking in all the defenders from the Springboks by repetitive, very patient type phase ball, and eventually, the space opened up at the back where all the players were sucked in and they could just get that ball out wide to Mac Hansen, and he goes through for the first try. And I mean, one thing that the Irish was also really good in the first half is at the breakdowns. Man, those guys were on the ball. The jackling from the Irish was really good. Now, the Springboks, the same thing, but first off, I have to give it to the Irish. Damian Willemse with a few great line breaks. Had a good first half. He's such I love this guy on fullback. The pace that he brings, the step that he's got. He likes running from deep, having space. So after Mac Hansen scored, Sexton was able to convert, and Manie Libbok did get a penalty early in the game. So we go into halftime 7-3, and this game is anyone's. O'Mahony was outstanding first half, competing in the lineouts. He was so fired up. Amazing from both teams. Halftime, it's anyone's game, and you feel this game is on. At this point, no concerns really for me from a Springbok point of view with their kicking. Manie Libbok put his first through, and you think, things are still good, We go into that second half. O'Mahony steals a ball from the line-out from the Springboks. Mostert steals one's back. It's a head-on-head battle from the start. I mean, and everyone was fired up. Eventually, Visa gets over a ball. Faf de Klerk gets a mammoth long kick away, penalty. He hits the post. He just unfortunately couldn't get it over. I mean, he really kicked well. It was really far. He hits the post. It bounces back, and the Springboks somehow retrieve it. It gets out to Eben Etzebeth, and I've never seen this ever happen to Eben Etzebeth. The Irish managed to keep Eben Etzebeth up in the air, and they turned the ball over. I mean, the Irish was fired up. And Jar going for a different approach this time. They're not going for like the bomb squad, or what they call the nuke squad, where they bring everyone up at the same time, like they did against Scotland. This time, deciding to bring players up at different times. In 47th minute, he brings up the 2 locks and props, and he starts making changes very early in the second half, but don't bring up everyone at the same time. Immediately, you could see the difference in the scrum. The Springboks able to demolish the Irish in that next scrum after the replacements come on. Libak gets a penalty from the scrum, and he hooks it. And here we go back to the same old problem, because that should have been through. He hooks it. Score stays the same. Now at that point, you got to know that Faf de Klerk had missed the far range second half. Now if you look at that second half, within like the first 10 minutes, 2 kicks was missed. That's 6 points thrown away by the Springbok. 53rd minute, Kulisi gets taken off. And slowly but surely, Springboks are starting to bring up replacements. At this point, the Irish still playing with their starting team. And I got to tell you, they were outstanding, that starting 15 for the Irish. Damian Willems, again, second half. He gets some space, and every time he gets the ball, he creates something amazing. His running and his stepping was outstanding. I mean, some of those breaks that he had, and then putting little kicks in. He was really playing an outstanding game in this game versus Ireland. Kwagga Smith's on, and it's not long before Kwagga is over a ball like we know him, jackling over a ball, and the Springboks get another scrum. But this is a concern that I've had. Malherbe has been good as a scrummager for the Springboks in the past, but I'm kind of feeling that his time has come. He looks a little bit off for me lately. You know, the Springboks lose the scrum, and the Irish beat the Springboks in the scrum, and it's a turnover of ball. The Irish gets that penalty. Johnny Sexton puts it through. He just doesn't miss, and that is unfortunately the difference, guys, in big games, is that your specialized kickers are pinpoint with a percentage above 70 to 80%. It's just a fact that it's needed on these big games. The fact that Jacques Nienaber keeps saying, oh, I'm not concerned about the kicking. No, I'm not concerned about the kicking. Now, guys, I'm not here to attack this Springboks coaching team. They have taken this rugby team and made them, in the last, say, 5 to 6 games, in amazing form. The depth that they've created, they've done amazing things. With the kicking, it's the wrong call. And they hopefully will realize after this game. But I've said this before. We've seen this last year or the year before in the end of year tour. They started experimenting with different kickers, and it's not worked out. And it's just sometimes, to me, that's the only concern from a Springbok fan perspective, is they're a bit stubborn. But that is what makes them such a good coaching team, is they are stubborn. But this whole thing, you know, the guys have got to realize, you know, it's not that I still don't think Pollard is the better flyer from a running point of view than Manie Libbok. And I don't feel Manie Libbok should be taken off the field. I just think they've got to decide, either have Pollard as the utility back on the bench, or they got to get Faf de Klerk to kick all the time so Faf can get used to the kicking. Because I think Faf could be a really decent, set kicker to poles if he gets enough game time in that position. And then, of course, that the Springboks get that ball out wide, and we know that a very similar try to what the Irish did, where, you know, the Springboks sucking in the defense through phases, and getting Manie Libbok so good at getting spreading that ball out wide, a pinpoint pass to Cheslin Colby, and Cheslin Colby pretty much jogs it in. Another really good try. And, you know, it's now anyone's game between the Springboks and the Irish. At this point, it's 10-8 for the Irish after Johnny Sexton converted the penalty. The Springboks brought on all the other replacements as the game goes on. Oxen Chair, immediately you see the power of that guy, and clearly he should be your starting prop these days for the Springboks. He just looks like the best scrummager for the Springboks at the moment. They win they smash another scrum, really, really good scrum. Springboks get the penalty, and guess what? Manie Libbok misses the kick again. Now it's 9 points that the Springboks have left unanswered for. 1 minute later, again, the Springboks get another opportunity for a kick to the posts. It's a far one. It's then they go to Faf de Klerk, it seems to me, is the kicker now for kicking far kicks. And those are tough. You can't judge Faf de Klerk. He gets the tough kicks, the far kicks. I think Faf de Klerk would have put through the kicks that Manie Libbok missed if Faf de Klerk was kicking to the post right through the game. But Manie missed all the close ones, and then they give Faf the tough ones. And if you do those far kicks, we know Frans Steyn used to be really good at it. It's tough. It takes time to start getting those far kicks through. He misses it again, guys. That's 12 points lost on the board, the scoreboard. Let's say 1 or 2 was through, that would be 6 points, which would be enough, to win the game in this scenario. Then you feel the Springboks are still in it. Eventually, Low up in the air knocks a ball, and you think, here's the opportunity. Peter Steph de Tooy's second half was really, really poor. I don't know what was wrong with the guy. It's almost like the pressure got to him. He had 1 or 2 handling mistakes. Just after Low, here he goes, and he also knocks a ball on. 70 minutes into the game. The Springboks, I would say for the last quarter, even in the start of the first half and the last quarter of the game, all the time on the Irish, try line. They were so close to scoring. They get another good line out close to the try line. Fourie throws it in skew. And man, okay, I understand the Springboks went for Andre Pollard. I support that decision. But now, unfortunately, paying that first price. We know Fourie doesn't play a hooker as much, making that mistakes. And there, the Springboks lose another opportunity. We see Crowley and Murray comes on. Sexton had some cramps. He started looking like it was time for him to come off. And you could see the Irish starting to try and slow the ball down a bit. They go for a drop kick, miss the drop kick, and the Springboks retain the ball back. This is 75 minutes into the game, and you can feel it's getting desperate now for the Springboks. The Springboks try to chase down a kick. I think it was Willemse. And they touch the ball. It's a 5-meter scrum for the Irish. 75 minutes into the game, guys. And you feel, oof, this has got to be it for the Irish. They're going to win this game. Reinach gets brought on the 74th minute. It was a bit weird for me that they bring him on so late, but I guess it's because they felt Faf had such an important role to play. But I sometimes feel if you want to do that, just keep him off the field. What's the point bringing him on for like 5 minutes? But anyway, the Springboks then, you'd think it's over. Like, I think the 79th minute, I don't know, but like there's a minute left. The Springboks get another opportunity. They somehow find themselves breaking the line and getting really, really close to scoring. The Irish are competitive at the breakdown, challenging that breakdown. And I don't know what happened there, man. I'm still not totally sure. Dililendi thinks it's out of the ruck. It's not out of the ruck. And Ben O'Keefe blows up Dililendi and says it wasn't out yet. End of the game, guys. Now, for a Springbok, you are super gutted. But, from an Irish point of view, listen, I take my hat off. Let me just do that. I take my hat off to you. Outstanding game. Really, really. They brought it from the start. They showed their intentions. And this is what we're going to see. Good rugby. There's been some poor performances in this World Cup, to say the least, I feel, with some of these games we've watched in this World Cup. This was up there, best standard of rugby that we could have watched. Poor kicking from the Springboks, but everything else was outstanding. Let's give it to the Irish. They could have gone for the points as well. They didn't at the start. They went for tries, so they might have also left some points on the board. And at the end of the game, Bundiaki gets man of the match, and you hear the whole crowd singing Zombie from Cranberries. It was amazing to hear, like the whole crowd singing Zombie. It was just a cool, when I heard that, it was like really tough for the Springboks, but amazing crowd there. And what a game. What a spectacle. Everyone brought it. Everyone can be proud at the end of this game. Guys, let's quickly have a look at the stats of the game. Anyway, let's go into territory. In the whole game, you can see the Irish just having a little bit more territory. It was a real good kicking game between both teams. And both teams were very clinical with their kicking. And you can see from a first half point of view, the Irish had a bit more of that possession. And that's why they scored that try. They were just a little bit more in the Springboks half. 57% to 43%. But we know the Springboks are usually a team in their third quarters when they come back. In every game you can watch them. Between third and fourth quarter they come back. They did second half, held on to possession a bit more, were more in the Irish half, And you can see possession in the full game is 49-51. What a battle. And then if we look at the attack, you can see there the Springboks had more meters carried than the Irish. So, but again, it's interesting because even though they made more meters, they had less runs. The Irish had 6 more runs. But the Irish love to move the ball around. But I think it was just the Springboks forward pack making more meters in, just driving the ball through phases. Carries over the game line. The Springboks was outstanding with 44 carries over the game line versus 37. Again, the Springboks were the better stat. Passes, we know the Irish. There's not a lot of teams that pass more than the Irish. They move the ball around. 129 versus 119. Defenders beaten. Springboks more with 23 versus the Irish 19. Very close, but a little bit more. Offloads. The Springboks had more offloads, which is interesting because the Irish is really good at their offloads. But the Springboks rush defense in many cases kind of stopping them from doing that. 4 versus 2. Mauls 1 each. Rucks 1. They're jackling and getting over the the balls in the rucks, and then just how quickly they get to the ball to clean out. 74 rucks 1 versus 62. Just having more rucks 1 there. Kicks from hand, the Irish kicking a little bit more. We know Sexton very good at that. And 16-20, so still very close. Meters from kicks 1, we see the Irish got a bit more. Again, that Sexton factor. And then looking at kicks into touch, 4 versus 9. Again, the Irish playing the better kicking game on the day, really. It was really close, though. There's not much in it, but that's, again, where you see where that, experience fly-off means so much. Total kicks, 20 versus 16. Then going down to set pieces, we can see scrum-wise, we see the South Africans with 81% scrum success rate. That's what they pride themselves in, 81%. But the Irish not far less with a 71.4%. Then lineouts, we see Springboks again more successful, definitely in the lineouts than the Irish. They were that little bit better than the Irish in the lineouts. 80%, 8 out of 10. The Irish 12 out of 18. Quite often making mistakes in the lineouts, and the Springboks able to steal balls from the Irish. But we know these stats are not always perfect, guys. This is World Rugby stats. Because the Irish did steal some ball from the Springboks. So I don't know how they calculate this. Penalties conceded 11 by the Springboks, 9 from the Irish. Just that little bit more. Discipline was a bit of a challenge just for the Springboks. Especially they were finding, because of the Irish being so competitive in the rucks, that they were often, in the wrong side of the rucks. And then slowing down the ball and getting the penalties. We found Etzebeth and Peter Steff on the wrong side of a ruck once or twice. Then lastly, from a defense point of view, tackles made. We see the Springboks making more tackles than what the Irish did. And we know the Irish was running it. They were moving it. And that's why the Irish well deserved. They played their own game. They didn't try and muscle up to try and do the same as the Springboks with the 7-1 split, trying to compare. They went with their 5-3 split. They played their game. Their players was outstanding from the start to finish. They came with loads of intensity. Well done to them. And then you look at the tackles missed. Springboks a little bit less than the Irish, which is very interesting. The Springboks was very, very good at their defense in this game. I've got to say, generally very good. 83% versus tackle success for Ireland, 79%. But both teams, great standard of rugby that we watch here, really. It was an outstanding game. Turnovers 1. You see that. That's the big difference, guys. Look at that. The Irish 9 versus the Springboks 3 there from a defense point of view. So, guys, what do we make of this? Me as a Springbok supporter, I just hope that the lessons learned today, I don't think it's such a bad thing for the Springboks in the sense that lessons are learned today. It kind of tells them already who will they be playing in that quarters. For me, living in New Zealand, but being a Springbok supporter, this is going to be a big one. It's going to be the All Blacks versus the Springboks in the quarters. The All Blacks, will want that revenge game. This will be the revenge game for the All Blacks. The Springboks will want to set things right after losing this game. And they've made things a little bit harder for themselves now, the Springboks, because I have to feel if they played France, they would have had a better chance with the Pont now also injured. Intermac was out, But both games would have been tough anyway. So it's either or. The thing is, And the lessons to be learned is not with the players as much today. The lessons to be learned is with the coaches from the Springboks to say, guys, somewhere we have to stop being hard-headed. We need to get a specialized kicker on the field. I really don't feel Manie Libbok is that for the Springboks. I want him to be playing from the start. Keep him there. He's an outstanding playmaker and otherwise an outstanding rugby player. And when he gets his place kicking right, he's going to be one of the best in the world. And I believe he will. But this thing, wanting to let him learn under pressure, the World Cup, and they don't understand. They might never have this opportunity again, having back-to-back opportunities. Well, they might never, when I'm saying might never, there's a good chance that they might never ever have the opportunity to have back-to-back opportunities to win World Cups. The Springboks have the full makeup. They have the form. They have the depth. They've got everything. If you look at this game, they could have won this game today. But if they are going to say, oh no, we're going to be hard-headed because we want Manie Libbok to be gaining experience and he will come right because we believe in our players. I'm totally with you believing in your players. But somewhere you also have to step back and say, listen, not for the prize of a World Cup can you keep being stubborn. Let's get real. Let the best place kickers kick. Let Faf kick. If you play Manie first half, get Andre Pollard come from the bench and let him kick second half. Don't keep persisting with the Manie thing. It is really, really going to be a problem for the Springboks in the future. They might want to use Manie more, but he also needs to be rested. Manie Libbok needs to be rested. So now they don't play him 2 games. He doesn't kick again. And then we come into the playoffs. They want to play him again. And then he kicks poorly. It's really a thing that I hope that they're really going to use Pollard like they should use him. And that they can say, first off, you know what, Manie, sorry, we're going to have to put your pride in your pocket. You can play the game, but place kicking we're going to give to Faf. And I think if they can make that decision, but in my opinion, knowing Springboks' approach and thinking and the coaching staff, they're probably going to stick with Manie for the shorter kicks, for the closer to post kicks. And he hooks them, guys. So I don't know what else to say. But we'll see as we go along. Guys, well done to the Irish again. All you Irish subscribers that watch my channel, I'm not sour. I have full respect. I have full respect for this game, guys. I love this game because this is what we want to watch in rugby. Just clinical, good rugby. Both teams made mistakes, but both teams played out of their skins. Loved it. If you loved my little kind of like breakdown of the game, please hit the subscribe button. If you don't hit it, I won't come up on your home screen again and you might not see me again. So if you're new to this, or if you've been watching it for a while and you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button please, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.